Hey there, I thought I would make a video in very slow kind of motion of how you make reasonably small stitches in nail binding even though you have a relatively big thumb. So normally, of course, I'm doing Mammon stitch, but this works for all the Oslo variants. I've done it with Dalby. It'll probably work for pretty much any stitch. So what I do, instead of normally, with big thumbs, you'd pick up that thumb loop, turn around, pick up your back loops. Unfortunately, it gauges quite big because my thumb is big and wide. It'll make really tall stitches. So the way around that is I use a needle just to flick off that thumb loop. And then from the left to the right, I pull, and you can see that that loop shrinks down. And then I'll take my yarn supply and snug it up again. And now I have a nice small loop in the back, and I can go ahead and pick up in my back loop and turn, pass it under, pull through my yarn, and of course now I have, watching it doesn't cross here, nice small stitches even though I have a big thumb. So I will do it one more time, really slow, right? So there's my two loops on my thumb. I'm going to flick off the top one with my needle. And then the remaining loop, I'm going to pull from a left to right kind of motion to shrink down that loop. Snugging it up again by pulling on my yarn supply. And now I'm ready to complete the stitch by going through that loop and the back loop, because this is Mammon, and tucking underneath just as usual, and I've completed the stitch. A little awkward to do this with the camera here. Alright, now in terms of how big you make the loop in the back, I kind of go through different sizes, so I might think about the size of a dime, or a little smaller is like a chickpea. Smaller than that would be like a green pea. And after a while, just pinching like that, you get a feel for how big that loop is going to be, and you get quite consistent. So one more time, I'm flicking off the top loop. You can see how big it is right now. I'm drawing the remaining loop from the left and the right to snug it up. And then snugging up my yarn supply, and see I have a much smaller loop now. And then I can complete the stitch as normal. And that's it. If you've got any questions or comments, or if that was too fast, but you can see, nice small stitch that I would not be able to achieve normally with my big thumbs if I just went through the loop and did it normally. So it's an extra step, but it snugs up that loop. But you're still working off the thumb if you're accustomed, like I am, to doing it that way, because it gives you kind of that control. So it's a way of getting around big fat thumbs. Thanks.